Okay. And then you can look at me, and after a while that camera will go away. You want to know it's there. It's there. Okay, so this is a People and Places project interview conducted by the Langston Boulevard Alliance, and today we are at the Langston-Brown Community Center. The date today is 12/5/2024. My name is Bennett King, and I'm a research assistant for the Langston Boulevard Alliance. And we'll go ahead and have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, that type of thing.
Okay. Well, my name is Cleveland C. James Jr. The Arlingtonians know me as Bubby James.
Okay.
I grew up in South Arlington. Was educated at Arlington Public Schools. Mm-hmm. And I've also worked for Arlington Public Schools when I graduated from college, and also worked for the Parks and Recreation Department of Arlington County.
Okay, great. I understand you have a pretty interesting history with this building over a couple of its lives, so I'm not going to even share any of that. I'll just have you share what your history with this building is.
Well, I mean, the history of this building began when it was the third all Afro-American elementary school in Arlington. Mm-hmm. At that time, it was only three: Drew Elementary, Hoffman Boston, and Langston. Mm-hmm. It was also a recreation center, so at times we used to come up and have competitive basketball games and things of that nature. This center has been a rock of Arlington for so many years. I mean, from their existence, that it's always been very active in the community, and when opportunity came available within the county, Langston was always out there in the forefront, representing the community. The center itself was a school, an alternative high school. Mm-hmm. It also was a Head Start program, and also the recreation center itself.
Wow. So, and then when did you start with it? What was, it sounds like did you come here as a child too?
Well, as a child I came up and played. Yeah. You know, I had some friends who lived up here in North Arlington. Yeah. Back then it used to be known as Hall's Hill. Yeah. Yeah. And so I used to come up and hang out with my cousins and a couple other individuals. I actually came and became the principal of Langston in 2004. Mm-hmm. That's when the building was renovated, and a green building is now currently is what Langston is registered as. Mm-hmm. It was the first green high school in the state of Virginia. It had a lot of perks that I became educated about, what green was all about. Yeah. And so the building itself is milk-based paint. And it found out because the oil from the paint sometimes gives you headaches. Yeah. If you look at the lights, they're smaller filaments. Once again, because of the gas that they release while they're on, you walk away and sometimes you feel like a small headache. Concrete floors are synthetic. One funny part was when we opened the building, Richmond did not have the diagram for the bathrooms, because if you notice, they're flushless toilets.
Oh, I didn't notice.
So they didn't have a diagram, so they wouldn't allow my students to use the bathroom for about a week until they get the schematics in order, so they know how to regulate it from the state's point of view. But the green building put Langston on the map. It was a silver certificate. A lot of other schools in the DMV began to visit Langston to look at the various structure of it. The blinds outside are at a certain degree of angle to keep the sunlight from coming in and disturbing the students as well. So I think one of the first schools that came over was Falls Church High School, and then T.C. Weems High School, which is now Alexandria High School, came over and toured the building. So we've got a lot of notoriety, a lot of write-ups in the paper about Langston, and I think the county began to really start to model some of their newer buildings from what Langston was all about.
Yeah, the fire station is like completely green building.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, I was educated. I didn't know a clue about what was green and was about until they started talking to me about it. And so I became a walking tour guide. So I was at that time I became the principal of the Langston High School Continuation Program, which was an alternative program for students who are looking for on a fast track to graduate out of high school. A lot of the students had family obligations, living on their own. Some had difficulty coping with school. And we had a rough reputation in the beginning because we had all the undesirables, if you want to say that. But over the years, I was able to reform that and make Langston a school that was something that students began to stand up and take notice of. Again, as a fast track, you can come to school here at Langston and graduate within about 3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
The flexibility of the curriculum made it very comfortable for students and those who had family members and other obligations. You can come in and take 1 or 2 classes. A lot of them went on to go to work and things of that nature.
Yeah. That sounds like a great program. So is there a transition? Because now it's just known as the community center, but the school is still here?
Yes.
How does that work?
So when we opened the building, as I mentioned, it was only 2 departments at that time, Arlington Public Schools and Arlington County Recreation Department, which is housed here on the first floor.
Yeah.
So those were the 2 operating departments that were taking place. And it was something that we collaborated with to make sure that we had transparency, and communication is always very important. And we established that very quickly, to making sure that what was going on upstairs, the folks knew what was happening, and what was going on downstairs, we knew what was happening as well. So I worked very closely with the manager of the rec side of the building at that time. And then the senior citizens came in a short time after that. So we had 3 working components in the building. And again, it was a good collaboration that we established, good communication, and I think that we began to interact with each other with different activities. My students at that time were looking, I had some students who could play the piano. So I used to bring them downstairs and they used to play the piano for the seniors, and they loved it. My English kids did an autobiography of a lot of the seniors over there. And they wrote it up and put it in a nice little booklet and presented it to them.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were tickled to death.
Yeah.
And then some of the seniors who were former teachers came upstairs and they became tutors.
Oh, wow.
So
That's totally integrated.
yeah, it was. And then we also had holiday festive occasions, and we had basketball games against the adults against the kids. And one thing I'm really very, very proud of having the opportunity was that Thanksgiving, I asked one of my students, what you doing for Thanksgiving? Because I'm thinking everybody's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I got to work. I said, you got to work? I said, I tell you what, I'm going to fix you a nice Thanksgiving lunch. Let me stop right there and say that came from my grandfather. He was the first black maitre d' of the White House during Truman's time.
Wow.
And he stayed on with Roosevelt, and then he retired after that. But he had 5 sons. He taught the culinary aspects, and then they passed it on down to all the boys. So all the men in my family cook. Don't ask the women to make too much.
That's all right with them.
But anyway, I did a luncheon for them and for the student body.
Yeah.
My seniors got upset because I didn't invite them. So the next year, I invited the seniors. And that's when the impact I had was that I didn't realize how many seniors were by themselves on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that really touched my heart to make sure that they had, something of a festive activity. So it grew. They went back the next year and told their friends about it. Then they came. We're very active with the fire department and the police department. So, of course, I had to invite them. And as this thing grew, it turned out to be 15 years that I fixed Thanksgiving lunch.
Wow.
From 100 people to about 400.
Oh my goodness.
In 15 years, I did that.
Wow.
And they knew it was time because the hallway smelled like turkey.
Is it still going on? Or?
No, they called me up and we shouldn't have missed that. We shouldn't have missed that. But it was something I felt my way of giving back to the community.
Yeah.
And I really, it touched my heart. Then we had a little program, we had some singing and some other activities. So it turned into a real nice Thanksgiving family get together for all the Langston community.
I mean, think about that, 400 people who had, each one of them had an experience that year they probably didn't have before.
And every year I keep saying, oh, I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. And they look at me like, really? You're not going to do it again?
Okay, so let's get back to the transition of the rec center. So you're with the rec center now, right?
Yeah, I work part-time for the rec department.
So when was that transition? How did you transition from principal to the rec center?
Well, I was always working part-time.
Yeah.
And I enjoy working with people. And that's something that it didn't bother me. I mean, you're a principal. Why are you down there working at the rec center? Because I was a PE teacher. So that was a part of me that still kept me active and being involved and interacting, coach football and things like that for the Little League volunteer. But the transition wasn't hard. I mean, it's just a matter of communicating and treating people the way that you want them to treat you. And, of course, you got to follow the rules and regulations of the center. But I was involved with actually the recreation department since I was in college.
Oh, okay.
So I used to come home and, Fort Bernard, which is now a playground, but they had their center, and I was one of the assistant directors there. And then also, I was a lifeguard and pool manager. The first set of pools that were built by Arlington County, I was one of the first managers there. That was 1972.
You've been involved with it for a long time.
I've been around. So this is Don Quasada. Was the former head coach, swim coach at the University of Maryland, took over as the director. And I came in and he trained me, gave me some real good pointers, and improved my swimming. I became a pool manager, water safety instructor, scuba diver. And then so Mr. Quasada really got me going with that. So the transition wasn't that hard. Again, I've always been comfortable with people. I don't care who you are. I mean, hey, I can get along with just about everybody. So, and I enjoy just being around people. And I think it's a knack that was given to me that to extend my hand, fellowship to any individual that I come encounter with, and so it continues today. I'm church and rec center, my fraternity, and things of that nature. I'm still around people all the time.
That's great. What a great story. So just so I understand now, is the school still the same? The rec center still the same? Like, is that school still the?
Yes, the school still exists. They had the upper floors. And again, we started out with about maybe 70 kids. I think when I left, we were up to about maybe 160.
Okay.
And that transitioned to students coming in, just taking 1 or 2 classes just to graduate. One particular aspect of the Langston was that you still get your high school diploma from the school that you attended.
Yeah.
And I started college road trips. I wanted these kids to experience what college life was about. So I can talk to you about it, but if I can put you on campus, that gives you that feeling. We had our first doctor of medicine who graduated from Brown University.
Cool, yeah.
I'll make it real short. I took him up to New York. WPFW has a public radio station. So we went up there to the broadcast. And she's never been in a large city. And she's like Alice in Wonderland. she was all over the place. But Northern Virginia Community College picked her up. She finished there. They recognized her skill. University of Virginia gave her a full ride.
Wow.
And then she went on to Brown. And about 4 years ago, she reached out to me and invited me to her graduation. And so I've had kids who had 10 Domino stores and things like that, a lot of military experience. So that was one of the big things. I wanted these students to realize that you are somebody. You had a rough time in life, and some people have kind of turned their backs on you.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do, and along with my staff, I didn't do it by myself. I had to take my hat off to my staff. But they were really supportive of what we were doing to help turn these kids' lives around.
Well, that kind of leads into the next question I have, which is, you talked about this a little bit earlier, but how would you say, or what would you say the importance of the Langston Boulevard, the community center, the school, is to the Halls Hill neighborhood, to this neighborhood that's surrounded? why would you say it's important, or what's important about it?
It's a cornerstone, not only just for Langston Boulevard, but for Arlington County. It's a building that has so much history, rich in history of all the activities, the occurrences that have taken place here, that it's monumental for those individuals who were here before me, Ms. Lil Brown, Sandra Green. Those individuals really helped put Langston on the map. And when they went down to the county board, they knew Langston was in the house.
Yeah.
But it's something that you just can't forget about. And you need to put that in the history books and let it know how the growth and development, because not only Langston itself, but the community grew as Langston grew. With the different activities, the opportunities that they presented here at Langston. They had representatives from different aspects, from the county as federal, and seeing Langston was always the spot where everything took place.
Yeah, we talked to Sandra Green earlier. She's still a powerhouse.
Yeah.
She's still going. She's down at the county on the firehouse stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some of your favorite memories, some important milestones or memories you have of this place in your time.
Well, I think the first one was itself having the opportunity to open the building. At that time, I was the assistant director of the Career Center, and I had left Langston because I wanted to expand myself. So I went to Gunston as assistant principal. Middle school's okay, but I like high school better. So I went to the Career Center, and my former secretary called me and told me, get back up here. I hadn't actually seen the building. I knew it was under construction.
Yeah.
And I turned the corner and said, I'm coming back home.
Yeah.
So I came back in '04, just as construction was finishing up, and made that transition of setting Langston up the way it is today. And again, collaborating with the Recreation Department and those administrators and then the senior adult administrators to make sure that the transition went as smooth as possible. I can remember asking one of the associate superintendents of the school, I said, well, who's the building manager? And she said, you are. I said, oh, well, thank you. So I had to take on that responsibility of making sure that the building is up and running, the lights are on, and the doors are open every morning. But Langston, again, I can just close by saying that Langston is one of the unique buildings in the county that has been diversified. Even today, it's still growing. And as things move forward, I think Langston's always going to be somewhere in the forerunner. Yeah,
it's still. I know we've talked to several people in the community, and it's come up several times of how not only has it been a part of the community, but it's also a part of the future of the community. Like that's come up over and over. Yeah. Even before I knew what it was, like it was coming up, right? Like it was Callaway Church and Mount Salvation and the fire station and this. There was different places like people would continually mention over and over. Okay, so if you were to tell a stranger about the Langston-Brown Community Center, how would you describe it if you were describing this to a stranger?
I would say it's a very comfortable environment that you could come in and find a wide variety of activities. I think you would be greeted with open arms. The individuals work here are very informative, very helpful for especially newcomers into the county. It's giving them directions where to go and how to get themselves settled in. I think Langston itself is a building that, as I said, it stands by itself. The walls have so much history. And those individuals who have come before me and who are here today still carry on that tradition. And I think any individual who would come over to Langston would walk out here very comfortable and feel the fact that I'm coming back. And if they have family, the families will be here with them in tow.
So who is the building named for? I think since we're going to get this on, I know who it is, but I want you to tell for history.
Well, Mr. Brown was I found out he went to Virginia State. And he was a former congressperson. And he was very active in the government and as a poet himself. So he had a really establish himself for who he was. And at that time, when they were building the building, I guess they want to commemorate all the efforts he has done in the Washington, D.C. area. So that's how his name came about.
So let's talk a little bit about you told us a little bit about the programs here. So the rec center, if you could just give us an idea of what goes on at the rec center, maybe what goes on at the senior center, what are some of the activities that happen there?
Well, the seniors, it's a daytime operation. They come here in the morning. There's various activities they have for them, bingo. They have a garden out back that we help, my kids help construct and put that together for them. And then the other activity, they have guest speakers from the county and other outsiders come in and just talk about preparing themselves as they go through their senior life. We haven't got there yet, so. But
that's not programs.
Yeah, it's not for us. But it's good to know that information because eventually we all have to pick up on it sooner or later. Yeah. But the seniors are just they're a hoot. They're a hoot. I mean, I love sticking my head in there in the morning and talking with them. And sometimes they wind upstairs walking through the hallways, just seeing what was happening. Yeah. The recreation department is a day and night operation. Okay. They have programs, as I mentioned, the senior program, and with other meeting is a meeting place as well. The gym is open certain hours of the day, as well as the weight room, to allow them to come in and exercise. The high school continuation program, again under Arlington Public Schools, was Monday through Friday school operation. Yeah. And as I said, the opportunity for students to finish school and get their high school diploma and to move on in their life. So those were the three major components, as I mentioned earlier, of Langston. And they were the heartbeat, and they probably still are today.
Do you still see the interaction between like the seniors and the students, and is that still going on?
I'd see some of it, being that I'm not here now, but I do run into some of the individuals. When I came into the building, all the seniors would grab me and want me to, I said, I gotta go to an interview. But I said, I'll be over when I finish, so I'd stick my head in there.
We'll try to get you out of here. So
oh, no problem, but they were delighted to see me, and I'm just delighted to see them that they're still here. Yeah. They're still participating.
And I know we kind of covered this, but just to confirm, the school is run by the school district, it sounds like, and this is run by the rec department? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, a dual collaboration between the two components of Arlington County.
Okay, and then to use the rec center, is it a membership program, or can anybody use it? How does that work?
They have a membership card that they scan to allow you to come in, and they do have drop-in basketball on certain days of the week. Yeah. But for the exercise facility, there's a scan card, and it's a universal card for Arlington County centers.
Oh, I see.
So once you get one card, you can visit any other of the centers. They have the different physical activities for them.
Is that available to everybody? Do you feel like is it people that can't afford it, or is there a price to it, or can everybody get it? How does that?
I don't think it's pricey.
Okay.
It's built on age factor. They have a program for teens that they pay a very minimal amount.
Oh, I see. It's like the YMCA a little bit. Yeah.
It's like the Y.
Yeah.
So they have the program for the teens, and they have us adults, and then they have a program for the seniors as well. So all different price ranges vary.
I see. So as you understand it, what are the goals, working at the rec center, what are some of the goals of the rec center and the community center?
I think the main goal is to serve the community, provide whatever opportunities that come available within the realm of the rec center to make sure that it happens for them. It's a public place, so anytime there's some type of public meetings or any type of formative meetings, things like that, I think Langston has always been the one that they call upon. They do have a couple of birthday parties. Serving the community, from my past experience, we've had a couple of repasts from funerals that folks who were very close to the center needed a place to have to gather after certain services. And so all that happens all the time, quite a bit. This was a voting center at one time.
It's not anymore?
I think they moved it over to Glebe, if I'm not mistaken there. But it was a voting location back in the day. And so, again, it hosts a wide variety of individual activities as well as community activities, group activities as well. And
what are some of the, like when you talk to the seniors or the people in the rec center, what do they tell you they enjoy about it? What are they?
I think the camaraderie of themselves, of being together, sharing each other's experience. As I said, they seem to be very open with each other. And with the diversity of the members over there, they all seem to have a good time, arts and craft. And they're very proud to display whatever they created. Okay. But they really enjoy just interacting. Then, of course, they have lunch together. And then I guess about 1 o'clock they head on out. You
got a sponsor there. Okay, what kind of challenges do you see the center facing these days?
I think one of the biggest challenges, I would say, on a political note, is making sure that the county board understands what Langston holds and the threshold of the community itself, and not to lose focus of that, and making sure that as opportunities come available to enhance the center, to make sure that it takes place. You know, we have preferences of one center to another, but I think that it's important as Langston exists that whatever opportunities comes available, that the county board understands it's just important that they have it to help their growth and development. And this transforms into the community. Yeah. If Langston grows, the community is going to grow.
Yeah, I mean, especially since it's so embedded in the community too, right? The history is here, right? It's been here for so many years. Okay, and we'll talk about that. Actually, we did talk about that earlier. So why do you think it's important that this continues? For you personally, why is it important that the center stays here? And then we'll talk about for the community. You talked about a little bit right there, but
Well, on a personal note, I had my hands in building this. Yeah. And making it what it is today. So I take very pride in making sure that my footprint stays around somewhere. Yeah. Whether it's in the closet or in the hallway. But watching it as Langston was demolished, the old Langston, and then the new one came up in the shadow, so to speak, that I want to see it keep going. I want to just make sure that every opportunity of community members and drop-ins or programs still continue to, and that it's going to be here long after I'm gone.
Yeah. We'll get you up on the wall up there. You mentioned it just briefly there. Do you know much about the history before this? I know there was the Sumner School, the second Sumner School was here, and then it was Langston Elementary after that? Yeah,
it was summer school at one time, and then it started as an elementary school. Okay. Then pretty much from when the county started to grow, and they started moving the kids from this neighborhood to some of the other elementary schools, the school part went dormant, but Head Start continued on here. Oh, okay. So it was Head Start in the recreation department. And then I think in 1970, the Burford High School continuation started. It was 2 locations, Langston, and the other location at that time was Clay School, down on 10th and Highland Street. And I had just came back from California. And actually I had my interview for the job in Tucumcari, New Mexico, in the Sears parking lot.
Were you on the phone or something?
I was on the phone in my little TR6, headed home, and I had the interview.
You had no electrical problems in that TR6? Did you get that thing crossed?
Oh, that's my baby. Oh, I'm looking for another one now. But I drove 2 days from left here Wednesday, Elvis Presley died that night. By the time I got to Memphis, you would think the world came to an end. First disappointment because the Highway 40 was so zigzag, people just stopping and falling out. And the second disappointment was the Mississippi River was dry.
Wow, you knew that was possible.
I was looking for this massive river when I crossed over, and it looked like a little pond. I was like, man. So, but yeah, I left here Wednesday, and Friday morning I was looking at the Pacific Ocean.
Wow, you were driving seriously. That takes a long time to get across that country.
Yeah.
I did it in 4 days, and I thought I was doing it fast.
So yeah, coming back then, I took my time a little bit better, but that's when I had my interview, and I came in. So that was the 2 locations. And then later on, they moved to Hoffman, Boston, and that's when they had closed it out as elementary school, and then adult education. Basically, we fell under Arlington Public Schools Adult Education Department. So that's how they operated the high school continuation program here at Langston, at Hoffman, Boston, and at Gunston. Those were the 3 major and Drew School. Those were the 4 sites that the adult education program existed within.
Did they tear down that school completely before this was built in 2004? Like, what was the trend? Well, there was the Langston Elementary School, right?
Yeah.
And did that get torn down, or is that part of this building?
Oh, no, everything went.
Okay.
Everything went. Head Start stayed here for a minute when we came back in 2004, opened up. But they moved on, and I don't know, Head Start still exists, do they?
I think it does. Oh, no, it doesn't, because it's national. There's a nationalized program.
Yeah.
So Head Start does not.
Yeah, so it was dissolved, and so then that's when we kind of expanded the building a little bit more for other opportunities.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. Any other stories you want to share? Anything we missed?
No, I think you covered everything. I'm just thankful I had the opportunity to be a part of Langston, from the existing, when it was the old building, and to the new building, and all the individuals who were staff members, and all the students and everybody who came through here. That, as I said, I think I just had a foothold and watched the building grow, and it was all the community activities within it itself.
Yeah, you certainly have got some. You've got some soul in this building too. You've got a lot here. Well, thank you very much. What we're going to do next is so there's a couple parts here. We're going to take some little clips that we're going to put on the website, on the LBA Love Langston Boulevard Alliance website. Okay. Before I do any of that, or before we do the write-up or any of that, I'm going to send it to you to review. So
Okay.
you're okay with it, right?
Sure.
And then we'll put it up on the website. Then after that, we're going to send the video to the archives so that they'll have it at the county, at the Center for Local History.
Okay.
So that's our next step. It's going to be probably not until the new year. We've got some other ones we've got to get done. But I thank you very much for your time, and that was really great.
My pleasure. Thank you. Use my CCJ.